climbing upwards through the mist to Cauvery, the source of the beautiful and fought-over river Cauvery. This is where the river takes birth, on the eastern side of the Western Ghats. A serene temple is at the spot. So this is Cauvery, the source of the river Cauvery. A very sacred place for those who believe in the goddess Cauvery, for those who worship her.
Most sacred place for a Kodagu. It's one of the most sacred places in South India because Cauvery is called the Ganga of the South. So what has happened here is it's become a tourist destination more than of a pilgrimage site. The birthplace of our goddess becoming a tourist place is not actually acceptable by most of us. I think this is just the beginning. It's going to get worse.
So from the point of origin there, the water emerges at that point there, then it goes underground and disappears, emerging several kilometers later. After Bhagamandala, it begins its journey through the southern part of Karnataka, through Tamil Nadu to the sea. The river rises in Kodagu, a small and beautiful district in Karnataka, a little over 4,000 square kilometers. The hilly and green district receives plenty of rainfall in a good year, as high as 4,000 millimeters in the rainiest parts. The combination of the hills and the heavy rain sees the district rich with streams and waterfalls during the monsoon months. The water flowing into tributaries of the Cauvery, into the river itself, and from the river into the 4 Cauvery dams in Karnataka. Kodagu is the main catchment area of the Cauvery, and the environmental health of this district has a direct impact on the river itself. But the debate over the river, the arguments and the violence is usually focused downstream, in the Mandya sugar-growing belt of Karnataka, and further into Tamil Nadu and the delta area of the state, where the river empties into the Bay of Bengal. But is Kodagu itself being taken care of? Is the birthplace of this precious river receiving the care it needs? Kodagu is known for its tree-covered coffee plantations and paddy fields. They need plenty of water. But this year, 2 out of the 3 taluks of Kodagu district were declared drought hit.
This year's deficit too acute. Against last year, from January to September, we had rainfall about 2,032 millimeter. Okay, this year it is reduced to only 1,690 millimeter. So that is about 32% deficit in rainfall compared to the last year.
Madikeri and Virajpet taluks both had a deficit of at least 20% in the rainfall received from January to September, which means less water flowing into the Cauvery and less water for the riparian states to argue over. People living by the river Cauvery here in Kushalnagar say that this year the rain was much less than normal. In a good year of rain, the water reaches this level. But this time round, this year, the water level is really very much lower.
ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಮಳೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇನಿಲ್ಲ ಕಮ್ಮಿ
Kamina? Okay.
ಬೆಳೆ ಅರ್ಧಕ್ಕರ್ಧ ಬೆಳೆ ಬಂದು ಬೆಳೆ ಒಣಗ್ತು.
This year has been a failure. It's approximately 55% of the total rainfall that we have received till now. And I don't know how much we are going to receive. Or even if it does rain, it is not going to be useful at all for any... at this stage. It's past the time.
Much of Kodagu is covered with forests, and these serve as a way for the region to hold on to the rainfall it receives. But there are concerns that the forests are being taken for granted and are under threat. Forest cover in the catchment area of a river is vital, and this indeed is reserve forest area in Virajpet Taluk of Kodagu district. The trees allow the water to actually stay in the soil and to percolate down into the soil itself. But look what's happening there. Around 55,000 trees were cut down in Kodagu district alone to allow this power line to go through to Kerala.
Huge stretch of forest has been hacked down for the sake of this 400 kV high tension power line from Mysore to Kozhikode. Okay. And as far as the forest and tree cover loss goes, Kodagu and just adjoining a small stretch of forest in Hunsur division in Mysore district, about 23 hectares of forest have been hacked down for this power line. But more seriously, another 146 hectares of coffee estate, the trees in these coffee estates have been hacked down. about 70% of the total inflow of KRS Dam is from Kodagu. The water, the precipitation is affected. The water inflow decreases, but the silt inflow increases. So it's a double blow.
Kodagu is the only district in Karnataka not connected by rail. The current MP, Pratap Simha of the BJP, the Member of Parliament Kodagu shares with Mysuru, says the Railway Ministry has given an in-principle agreement for a railway line to the district from Mysuru. 50% of the costs, estimated at 67,000 crores, will be borne by Karnataka, which also needs to provide the land free of cost. Another concern for people thinking about the environment here in Kodagu are plans for a railway line that will improve the connectivity to Madikeri, but it will cut through this stretch. And just imagine the countless number of trees that would have to come down for this project.
It's a part of this thing development. Connectivity is definitely this thing required. But again, I think I should say with the proper alignment, proper thing, we should do it without losing much of forest cover.
Whenever you have a rail link, you have a huge influx of outside population that upsets the demography. Now, principal catchment areas like the Western Ghats and especially Kodagu should be kept relatively free of demographic pressures. That means you do not want people flooding in.
But in a clarification that should cheer the Green Brigade, Pratap Simha says the railway line will only be from Mysuru to Kushalnagar, just across the Kodagu border. It will not go through the forests to Madikeri, he says. Kodagu roads, battered by the district's heavy rainfall, were notorious earlier. They have improved, but plans to further upgrade these roads would mean more tree loss. The 4-lane highway to Madikeri, 9 meters wide now, would become 14 meters wide. The district has a tradition of sacred groves or devarakadus, a way of protecting the forests that literally invoked the fear of God.
It is our forefathers have earmarked out of their property. A certain section of the property has been earmarked in the name of the village deity to conserve as a biodiversity hotspot. And no destruction or any sort of alteration of the natural vegetation is allowed in that particular piece of land. It varies from 20 cents to 700 acres under Cauvery temple. So a lot of the vote bank politics has propped in, and because of the old getting the votes, our politicians started accommodating people from outside the district in these sacred groves.
Another threat to reserve forests that should remain inviolate. Little settlements like this near Siddhapura that seem to have come up right under the nose of authorities. These are Jenu Kuruba tribals, working as labourers in the coffee plantations. Poor and landless for the most part, and brought here and allowed to settle in primitive conditions.
ನಾನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು 4-5 ದಿವಸ ಆಗುಂಟಷ್ಟೇ. ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೊಟ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದು ಕೂಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಗಡೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಮಳೆಗೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ನಾವು ಕುಟ್ಟದಿಂದಾನೆ ನೀರಿಗೆನೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆನೆ ದೂರ ಒಂದು 3 ಮೈಲಿ ಕಡ್ದು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಡಿಬೇಕು. ನನಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ತಾಯಿ.
ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಯಾವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಕೊಡಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೈದರು ನಮಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ದುಡ್ದು ತಿಂದು ಸೋತೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಡಿಗಾಗಿ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪಾಜಿನವರು ಅವರು ಒಂದು ನಮಗಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು ಮನೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 370 ಮನೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಜಾಗದ ಕೊಡಗಿಂದಾನೆ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲ ತೋಟದಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋರೇ ಬಂದಿರೋದು.
The land in the forest being given under the terms and conditions of the Forest Rights Act, that is on one side. But unfortunately, the Forest Rights Act itself is being violated, and many people who do not qualify for land in the forest are also getting large patches of land within the forest. So our forests are definitely under stress.
Like the forests, the brilliant green paddy fields are another way the groundwater is recharged. The paddy fields of Kodagu are one way in which water is held here and later goes into the earth. But with more and more of these paddy fields being sold as sites, construction happening on them, that's much less water being stored in this way.
A beautiful green paddy field, which you can see there, has now become a patch of ugly concrete.
And so what does this mean for the groundwater of the area?
The paddy fields of Kodagu have the capacity to impound 60 lakh cubic meters of water every year. But gradually, as you lose out your wetlands, then the capacity to hold water also keeps getting reduced.
An RTI application shows that 2,800 acres of land was converted for commercial purposes in the last 10 years.
As of now, I don't see such a very great devastation has happened. Conversion of land is a right in a way. One person holding land, I think, he has got right to convert.
In district capital Madikeri, forests have been cleared, and in fact the top of the hill has been cleared here to make way for the building for the Kodagu Institute of Medical Sciences. But despite these changes, Kodagu is still beautiful and attracts tourists in droves.
कोडगु एक बहुत अच्छा प्लेस है देखने के लिए इधर फॉल्स वगैरह सभी अच्छा है स्टे करने के लिए भी रूम भी कंफर्टेबल है और ये फॉल्स देखने के लिए आया मैं बैंगलोर से फर्स्ट टाइम आया मेरे को बहुत एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ इधर
The Abbey Falls near Madikeri is one of the big attractions of Kodagu, and this district certainly attracts tourists by the thousands. They do bring revenue for the district. There are a lot of earnings from the tourists, but locals here are concerned that the tourism should be sustainable, should not in any way damage or stress the environment.
The tourists come here, they don't leave the place as how it was when they came in.
Yes.
That's the biggest issue. They come, they eat, they throw their papers all over the river, not just the river, anywhere. By the roads, any empty space is filled with garbage now. And this is the water what they're drinking down in Mysore and Bangalore. Because Cauvery provides most of the drinking water needs.
Kodagu unfortunately has become a destination for invasive tourism, I would say, because with a population of barely 6 lakhs, last year the tourist footfall as per official records is 13 lakhs. A fragile hill ecology like Kodagu cannot take such pressure of tourism and using the natural resources, the water, the waste generated, the disturbance of wildlife, and the government also touting as a tourist destination. It is quite unfortunate.
Number of tourists visiting, I think it has increased fourfolds, I think, last couple of years. We cannot stop also. You know, the huge revenues are coming in different ways. It has generated employment. Kodagu is a very, very beautiful district. I think thousands, millions of people across the world, they should see Kodagu. They should come this. But what my appeal is, let's have responsible tourism. And we have a large number of homestays. Homestays, anyway, they contribute to ecotourism. What is?
ಬೋರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರೇ ಕೇಳಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೇಳಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡೋದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಜಗಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
Buildings have come up right next to the river, violating laws that mandate a minimum distance for any permanent structure.
There are hotels and establishments and habitations bang on the river bank and letting out their raw sewage straight into the river. So if this is the catchment and origin of Cauvery, you are having serious contamination at source.
Some of the tests that have been done by the Pollution Control Board show that the total coliform levels, the fecal coliform levels at Kushalnagar, for example, at the Napuklu Bridge and so on are way above what is safe. Certainly for drinking. I mean, drinking is absolutely, it's not very safe at all.